going to be the really huge impacts for this area that we'll start seeing pretty quickly. And just imagine, so this report was based on 6,000 wells. So if there are, as predicted to be here, 40,000 high-volume hydraulic fracturing wells in New York State, and the DEC is supposed to handle that, then they're not even doing a very good job of handling just the 6,000 vertical wells that are out there. So that sort of was the eye-opener of this week. There's always an eye-opener in the news, isn't there? Unfortunately, as you know, from the DEC's proposed SGICE, which if anybody's read it, it's an exciting 15,000-page document, the state does not protect towns and sticks them with an immense regulatory burden, like stuff like this. So again, we appreciate your diligence and dedication to protecting the safety of all residents, our water, our roads, and our natural environments. So, thank you.
I think it's important for everybody here to understand that this is only the moratorium, and the only reason we did the moratorium was because we didn't feel that we could draft a law that would hold up in court quick enough to put up a stopgap, so to speak. So in order to keep somebody from coming in under the wire while we're drafting this law, that's what the moratorium is for. And the reason it's only for a year, it keeps our feet to the fire too. So I think there's no one on this board that does not have the intention of forging ahead with this and getting this law drafted, a law that'll hold up in court well before the year. I mean, I think it's a high priority of everybody on the board. So.
Christina, could I get a copy of that? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Go ahead.
After the meeting, before you leave.
Okay, I have one for you.
Thank you. And Barbara, could I get Barbara Preetz also?
Okay.
After the meeting, if you don't mind. Okay, thank you.
All this applause that's going on, you have any problem if we take this and use it in other meetings? Thank you. Does anyone else want to add or subtract there? Yes.
My name is Charlene Roberts. I'm from Olive Bridge, and I definitely support the moratorium. And I just wanted to add to Christina's little statement that just keep in mind, and we all probably have this in mind, that we're dealing with these big companies, and they got big money, okay, to sort of ice over, you know, put a little frosting on top of what is actually happening underneath. And some of the reports I read, a lot of the studies I've looked at from very reputable companies and university people and so forth have reported that there's so many violations that these wells have been cited for in all these states, and yet they're not being addressed. They're just sort of taking their time. I mean, major violations of pollution and environmental standards being violated, and they're still not being addressed. There's a list, and the list keeps longer and longer and longer, and checking the ones off that are actually being enforced and that they're actually doing something about these companies are less and less. So, I mean, they just have such a grip over what's happening. I also want to tell you that I have been out in Pennsylvania, and this was 3 or 4 years ago. I visited friends in the middle part of Pennsylvania, and I couldn't understand why everything just felt so depressed in this area. I mean, it was like a gray cloud, like a big heavy mantle, you know, that was hanging over everybody that they didn't want to have on their shoulders. And even the people, the way they acted, and just their, the way they looked, it was just very sad. And then later I found out that there were wells being drilled around the area. It wasn't even in the area. And here was this depressed cloud hanging over it. And I have just talking to her a couple of weeks ago, and they had to move because noise and light pollution alone was so bad that they had trouble sleeping. So they're actually moving to another part of Pennsylvania, and then they found out that the well drilling is actually going in that direction that they're moving. So they don't know what they're going to do. They're probably going to be moving out of state, but that's just one, one couple that I know of. So hearing all this and seeing all this and reading about all this, this is the first time ever that I've been spurred into action and saying I have to do something about this. This is really scary. This is scaring the pants off me when I read all the things that is going on about hydraulic fracturing. Even though it's been going on for years, all I can say is, well, how many years is that all this stuff has been seeping into our ground and our water and our air? So if you really feel passionate about saving your basic human rights to live the way you should live in a healthy environment, then definitely take action. If you're concerned, talk to these people from the ODF because they're wonderful. And thank you so much for supporting them, and that's in the moratorium, and I salute you. Thank you very much.
Okay, any other comments? Yes.
Purdy Halstead from Sampsonville. I support the moratorium on fracking and encourage you to exercise due diligence to come up with the final law so that we can put this into bed.
Thank you. Yes, sir. No, you. Yeah.
I'm Roy Coutinho from West Shokan, and yes, I support the moratorium, and I have a short question. Last time we had a meeting about this where we attended, there was some question as to whether or not any law passed by the town of Oliv would hold true to prevent people from, corporations from putting brine on the highways if they were county highways or state highways. I wonder if that's been resolved yet.
No.
It's still a possible hole in the moratorium.
Well, I can tell you after the last meeting, the town board made, I don't know which meeting it was, but they had made a request to contact the county and the state DOT. Anyway, I sent out letters to the county, the state DOT, and to the city of New York, saying that the town had passed.
But Mike Klein is trying to
Mike
ban
Klein,
on
was
county
sent to
highways.
him, the Ulster County Legislature.
Yeah.
Mike Klein signed something, an executive order,
Oh, he did.
outlawing, banning it in Ulster County.
On County
correct?
Road.
Yeah. What's that?
But that is something that we would try to get in the laws with state roads also. Because it's still the town hall, it might be their highway, but it's our town. So, yes.
I'm Dorothy Caldwell, I live in Shokan, and I want to say I'm proud of Oliv for doing this. Recently I heard a speaker on the rise of fracking across the United States and the corporations and recognizing the impact. And what he noted was it has to be the small towns, one by the local law that passes and changes things, and because many people think it's a given in New York State that it's going to come in, and the western part of the state. And so I'm very proud to be a part of Shokan and a part of this town to do and support the moratorium. I debated, I live here and I'm the pastor of the Reservoir United Methodist Church. I also serve Phoenicia. Tonight they're also discussing in the Shandaken board, and I'm not sure what the town's going to be, how that's going to feel, so that we need to support our neighbors and we need to help one another understand the issues. And there might be political clout in our next door neighbors that might cause them not to want to vote or even to speak out due to the poverty of the area and the wealth of some people that are landowners there. And so we need to support our neighbors in also taking action to make a moratorium and eventually a ban as well. Because it may be that every town has to do it, and therefore the state will wake up and realize that it can't happen